name is Allison Landry. I'm one of the biologists here at LSMSA. I teach Introduction to Biology and Human Anatomy and Physiology. I was not initially planning to become a teacher. I was finishing my PhD. A lot of people in my program end up working in human in vitro fertilization labs, and I didn't want to do that. And I was thinking, what could I do to stay in state? I am a Louisiana native, and you hear a lot about the brain drain in Louisiana. And I hated the idea of leaving the state that I call home and going somewhere else. And so I was looking at options. I was looking at different possibilities, and I saw the ad for the teaching position, and I applied for it. I started working at LSMSA in 2005. I'm a big fan of hands-on learning. One of the things that we do in the science department that I think we do really well is hands-on learning in the form of laboratories. Almost all of our science classes have a laboratory period each week where our students get to get hands-on experience in the lab with what we're talking about in class. With the small classes, you know, I've got 15 students in a class, and so within a week I know them by name. You know, I can talk to them about where are they from, what do they like to do. We can talk about all that kind of stuff. It's not, I don't have 30 students in a class that I have to worry about, am I giving enough attention to every student? I've got these smaller classes, and I know I can give attention to my students here in the classroom. I love seeing students who have never had any biology experience before get in my class and start to learn about things that they've always been curious about but never really had the answers for, and just really get excited about what we're talking about. I love the chance to introduce students to a topic that they really don't know much about, because I have the chance to get them really excited about it. I think class community is really important. I think the students need to feel like their teacher cares about what they have to say, cares about their questions, and cares about what they're interested in. I'm a big fan of talking to my students instead of talking at my students. I believe in asking questions and asking the students to answer and respond to the questions that I'm asking. And I'm totally open to my students stopping to ask me a question. Well, what about this cool thing that they've read about that is related to what we're talking about in class? This is such a life-changing experience for so many of our students. We've got small classes, we've got teachers who are specialists in their field, we have students who are in our classrooms that are really interested in what we're talking about, really motivated to do their best, and so it really is kind of the perfect environment from a teaching standpoint. Our students are here on campus. And so this means that if I want to do a study session on a Sunday evening, I can do a study session on a Sunday evening before a Monday exam. And I'm not surprised to see a good portion of my students there because they're here on campus. It means that we get to have different types of learning experiences that may not be available at a traditional high school. If I want to do a field trip to Kisatchie National Forest on a weekend, I can almost always find students who want to go to Kisatchie with me and go hike a trail. The students that I had here, I love when they come back or email me and say, hey, Dr. Landry. Hey, Dr. Landry, I'm going to med school this fall. Hey, Dr. Landry, I finished my master's degree and I'm getting a paper published. I love those emails. I love those phone calls. I want them to have the background that they need. And I love hearing from my students after they've left, telling me what we did or how we did things here that made their college experience better. We have a fantastic foundation associated with LSMSA, and the foundation really supports continuing professional development. I've had foundation support to go to workshops in Milwaukee, and then the school also does professional development support as well. And so I've had school support. I've been to Texas A&M for conferences. I've been back to Milwaukee more than once to work with this group that's really a good professional development group. And I have the opportunity to go and to do those types of trainings that would really be too expensive for me to do if I was trying to pay the bills myself. I grew up actually in a smaller town than Natchitoches, about 30 minutes from here. And so I lived in that same small town once I moved back here for work because I had family there. Now that both my husband and I work here in Natchitoches, we moved here to Natchitoches. It's got a good school system. My children go to the lab school associated with Northwestern that has a lot of opportunities that they wouldn't have otherwise. Honestly, me coming from a small town to begin with, Natchitoches is bigger than where I went, than where I grew up, where I went to high school. And so for what my family and my children do, Natchitoches has pretty much everything we need.